My friends, there comes a moment in every life when we stand at a crossroads between the path of comfort and the road of challenge. Comfort feels safe. It whispers to us, "Stay here, you've done enough." But in that soft whisper lies the greatest danger of all, the danger of becoming a prisoner of our own ease. Comfort is one of the most deceptive forces in life. It comes quietly, without threat, without noise, and offers us a sense of safety that feels unshakable. It tells us that we have done enough, that we can rest, that we need not strive any further. And for a moment, we believe it. We sit back, breathe easier, and let the world move on while we stay still. Yet, what we often fail to see is that this stillness, this illusion of peace, can slowly transform into a cage. Comfort, when left unchecked, becomes silent captivity. It does not shout or chain us with force. It simply persuades us to stop growing, to stop reaching, to stop living with hunger and purpose. When we settle into comfort for too long, we begin to lose our curiosity. The mind that once asked, "What more can I do?" starts saying, "This is enough." The heart that once burned for adventure starts whispering, "Maybe later." And soon, we find ourselves living in repetition, not progress. Comfort dulls our spirit the way still water gathers dust slowly, invisibly, but completely. It doesn't destroy us in a single moment. It drains us quietly by convincing us that the small space we occupy is all we'll ever need. Many people mistake comfort for happiness, but there is a difference. Happiness is alive. It grows, it moves, it inspires. Comfort, however, often stands still. It may feel peaceful, but it is a peace without purpose. True peace comes when we are becoming who we are meant to be, not when we stop trying altogether. The tragedy is that most people never notice when comfort begins to turn into captivity. They believe they are safe, while in truth, they are stuck. Their dreams fade not because they failed, but because they never tried again. Think of a bird raised in a golden cage. It is fed, it is protected, and it knows no danger. Life inside feels secure, but the bird was not created to live behind bars. It was made to fly. When the door of the cage opens, it hesitates, afraid of the vastness of the sky, afraid of the wind that will test its wings. And so, many times, the bird chooses to stay. It doesn't realize that its safety has cost it its freedom. That is what comfort does to us. It builds a golden prison, lined with routine and satisfaction, and slowly convinces us to stay inside. Let me share a short example. There was once a young teacher who dreamed of becoming a writer. She loved her students and her job, but deep down she knew that her true calling was to tell stories that could inspire millions. Yet, as the years passed, her comfort grew. The stable salary, the predictable days, the praise from others, it all wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She would think about writing every night, but tell herself, tomorrow. And tomorrow always became another tomorrow. One day, a friend asked her, "Why haven't you written your book yet?" She smiled and said, "I'm comfortable where I am." Years later, she realized that comfort had stolen what fear never could, her potential. This is how comfort imprisons us. It convinces us that safety is more valuable than purpose. It makes us believe that the risks of change, outweigh the rewards of growth. And yet, the truth remains. The price of staying comfortable is far greater than the cost of stepping into the unknown. Every dream, every great achievement, every act of courage, all of it lives beyond the boundary of comfort. Breaking free from this silent captivity requires awareness and courage. You must learn to question the life that feels easy. Ask yourself, am I at peace or am I simply avoiding challenge? The difference between the two defines whether you are truly living or merely existing. To grow, you must be willing to feel the sting of uncertainty, the discomfort of effort, and the weight of risk. Those feelings are not your enemies. They are signs that you are alive, moving, and evolving. Comfort may offer safety, but it will never offer freedom. To remain in it for too long is to live half a life secure, perhaps, but unfulfilled. The walls of comfort may be invisible, but they are powerful. Only by daring to step beyond them can you discover who you truly are and what you are capable of becoming. Growth never happens in the warm embrace of comfort. It is born in the cold winds of discomfort, in the moments when you doubt yourself, when you are afraid, uncertain, and yet you move forward anyway. Discomfort is the teacher that no one welcomes but everyone needs. It tests your patience, challenges your limits, and forces you to face the parts of yourself that comfort allows you to ignore. It is in those uneasy, trembling moments that we truly evolve, because comfort maintains what you already are, while discomfort shapes who you are meant to become. When life becomes too easy, we stop learning. The human spirit was not designed to remain still. It craves expansion, discovery, and transformation. But to grow, you must first be willing to feel the pain that growth demands. The seed must break before it sprouts. The muscle must tear before it strengthens. The heart must endure before it becomes wise. This is the law of life. Everything that grows must first face struggle. So, when discomfort enters your life, it is not punishment. It is the process of becoming. Most people run from discomfort because they mistake it for failure or danger. They believe that pain means something is wrong. But in truth, pain often means something is changing. The moment you step into the unknown, when fear begins to whisper in your ear, that is the signal that you are entering a space where growth is possible. You cannot build courage in a place where everything feels safe. You cannot learn resilience if nothing ever challenges you. Every step into discomfort expands the boundaries of what you are capable of. Think of the butterfly. Before it can fly, it must fight its way out of the cocoon. The struggle looks cruel, but that very resistance gives the butterfly the strength to use its wings. If someone tries to help by breaking the cocoon open, the butterfly will never fly because the fight was necessary for its freedom. The same is true for us. The moments that make us uncomfortable, failure, rejection, uncertainty, loss, are not barriers. They are bridges. Each one strengthens us, preparing us for a greater version of ourselves. Let me give you a short example. There was once a young athlete who dreamed of winning a championship. At the start, he loved the game but hated the training. The early mornings, the heavy workouts, the pain in his muscles, it all felt unbearable. Many of his friends quit, saying it was too hard, but he stayed. Every drop of sweat, every sore limb, every failure on the field, he accepted it as part of his growth. Years later, He stood on the podium holding the trophy, tears in his eyes. When asked what the secret was, he said, "I stopped running from discomfort. It was never my enemy. It was my training partner." That is the truth of life. The things that test you are the same things that prepare you. Discomfort teaches you lessons that comfort never can. It teaches patience when progress is slow. It teaches faith when results seem far away. It teaches humility when you fall, and gratitude when you rise. It burns away arrogance and replaces it with wisdom. Most importantly, it teaches you that you are stronger than you ever believed. Every time you face discomfort with courage, you build a deeper trust in yourself, a belief that no matter what life throws at you, you can endure and overcome. The greatest mistake a person can make is seeking a life without struggle, because that is a life without growth. The people who reach the highest peaks are not those who avoided pain, but those who learned to use it. They did not curse their discomfort. They learned from it. They drew strength from it, and they allowed it to refine their spirit. So, the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, when things feel uncertain and the path ahead is unclear, remember this: growth is not supposed to feel comfortable. The discomfort you feel is not a sign that you are lost, but that you are on the right path. It is the universe testing your resolve, asking you how badly you want to rise. Do not retreat. Do not seek ease. Embrace the struggle, because on the other side of discomfort lives the person you are destined to become. Every time we choose comfort instead of challenge, we make a quiet trade. We exchange the greatness that could be for the ease that already is. It feels harmless in the moment. This choice to stay safe, to stay familiar, to avoid risk. Yet over time, these small choices become chains that hold back our potential. The truth is that comfort has a price, and that price is your future. Every person is born with a spark, a unique potential, waiting to be shaped by courage, effort, and persistence. But potential does not thrive in comfort. It demands struggle, failure, and constant movement. Comfort, on the other hand, demands nothing but your surrender. The tragedy of comfort is that it feels good while it quietly steals everything that matters. You tell yourself you'll try tomorrow, that you'll take that step when you're ready, that you'll chase that dream when the time is right, but someday never comes, because comfort whispers that today is good enough. You stop reaching, stop learning, stop daring. Without realizing it, your dreams begin to fade, not because you lacked the ability, but because you lacked the discomfort required to bring them to life. Comfort preserves the present but buries the future. Potential is not something you find, it is something you build. It grows through the decisions you make every day, to push harder, to learn more, to face fear rather than hide from it. Yet, comfort tempts you to avoid that work. It gives you excuses to stay where you are. Why take the risk? What if it fails? What if I'm not ready? But here's the truth. The only true failure is never trying. Every person who ever achieved greatness paid a price, not the price of comfort, but the price of courage. The danger of comfort lies in repetition. Once you become used to ease, you begin to settle for it. The human spirit adapts quickly, and if it adapts to comfort, it forgets how to strive. What was once a small pause in your journey becomes a permanent stop. Habit replaces hunger. You start to protect what you have instead of pursuing what you could become. That is how potential dies. not in moments of pain or defeat, but in the quiet moments of settling. Consider a short example. There was a young artist named Aiden who painted beautifully as a child. His talent was undeniable, and everyone told him he would become great one day. But when he grew older, he chose an easy job that paid well, one that required little of him. He told himself he would return to painting. When life slows down, years passed. The job was easy, the salary comfortable, the routine predictable. But deep inside, something began to fade. The fire that once burned in his heart dimmed until one day he realized that his dream had quietly died. He had traded his potential for comfort, not because he lacked talent, but because he never risked discomfort to fulfill it. His story is not rare. It is the story of countless lives, lived safely but never fully. The world rewards those who dare to leave comfort behind. It is in uncertainty that we discover our strength. It is in risk that we uncover our purpose. True success is not about avoiding pain, but about embracing growth. And growth always requires sacrifice. You cannot keep both comfort and potential. One must be chosen at the expense of the other. If you want to live a life that matters, you must be willing to let go of what feels safe. The comfort of today is the obstacle of tomorrow. Every time you stay within your limits, you deny yourself the chance to expand them. Comfort is temporary satisfaction, but potential is eternal reward. So dare to disrupt your ease. Take the step that scares you. Start the project you've been delaying. Speak the truth you've been hiding. Each act of courage reclaims a piece of your potential. In the end, you will not regret the moments you were uncomfortable. You will regret the moments you played it safe. The price of comfort is high, but the cost of wasted potential is unbearable. Choose the fire of transformation over the warmth of ease, for it is only through the heat of challenge that gold is refined. Your potential is waiting beyond comfort's door, but only you can decide to walk through it. Fear is a strange companion. It walks beside us, whispering in moments of decision, pretending to protect us, while quietly holding us back. Fear tells us that staying where we are is safer than moving forward. It convinces us that comfort is security, that risk is danger, and that change is something to be avoided. But fear is not our protector, it is our prison guard. It builds walls around our dreams and calls them safety. It makes us believe that the life we have is the only one possible. Yet, the truth is that fear's voice, though loud, is a liar. The greatest danger is not in falling or failing, it is in never daring to try. Fear keeps us comfortable because it feeds on uncertainty. The moment we face something unknown, fear steps in, urging us to retreat. It says, "What if you fail?" Or "What will people think?" And before we know it, we surrender not because we can't move forward, but because fear has convinced us not to. Comfort becomes our hiding place, warm, familiar, and deceptively safe. But the more we listen to fear, the smaller our world becomes. Our dreams begin to shrink until we are left living a life that is predictable, but hollow, safe, but unfulfilled. The irony of fear is that it promises protection, but delivers regret. It tells us that by staying comfortable, we can avoid pain. Yet, in doing so, we often create a different kind of pain, the pain of wondering what could have been. Every dream unchased, every opportunity ignored, every risk avoided They leave quiet scars on the soul. Fear does not save us from suffering. It simply trades the pain of growth for the pain of stagnation. Think of a mountain climber standing at the base of a towering peak. Fear tells them that climbing is dangerous, that staying on the ground is safer. But the climber knows that safety is not the same as living. The summit offers a view that can only be earned through risk. The climb will be hard, there will be slips and bruises, but every step upward brings strength and perspective. The top is not just a place, it is a transformation. If the climber listens to fear, they remain safe, but they also remain unchanged. Let me share a short example. There was once a young woman named Lena who dreamed of starting her own business. She had the skill, the knowledge, and the passion, but she also had fear. Fear told her that leaving her stable job was too risky, that failure would bring shame, that others would laugh if she tried and didn't succeed. So she stayed. For years she lived in comfort, good salary, easy routine, predictable life. Yet each day she felt a quiet ache in her heart, a voice asking, "What if?" One day, after seeing someone else achieve what she had always dreamed of, she finally realized that fear had stolen more from her than failure ever could. She took the leap. The first months were difficult, full of uncertainty and sleepless nights, but slowly her courage built momentum. Years later, she looked back and said, "The hardest part wasn't building the business. It was silencing the fear that told me I couldn't." This is what fear does to us. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It persuades us to trade our destiny for safety. It convinces us that risk is the enemy, when in truth, risk is the path to discovery. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has felt fear, but they chose not to obey it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. When you silence your fear and act with purpose, you awaken a strength within you that you didn't know existed. You begin to realize that the walls built by fear were never real. They were made of doubt and imagination. The moment you take a step forward, they crumble. You see that fear was never protecting you. It was protecting your comfort, not your growth. And comfort, while pleasant, cannot hold the weight of your dreams. So the next time fear tells you to stay where you are, to avoid the unknown, remember this: the life you want lies beyond that fear. The leap you are afraid to take is the bridge to your greatest transformation. You may stumble, you may fall, but you will rise with wisdom, strength, and freedom, the kind that comfort can never offer. The danger is not in trying and failing. It is in never trying at all. Fear will always whisper, but your courage must learn to speak louder. Greatness has never been born from comfort or complacency. It has always risen from the hearts of those who were restless, those who looked at what was and dared to imagine what could be. Restlessness is not a flaw. It is the fire that keeps the human spirit alive. It is the quiet dissatisfaction that whispers, "There's more to life than this." Many mistake it for impatience, but it is something deeper. Restlessness is the hunger that drives us to grow, to challenge limits, and to transform both ourselves and the world around us. Without it, progress would stop, and the extraordinary would remain undiscovered. A restless soul cannot be content with mediocrity. Even when everything seems comfortable, something inside urges them to move, to learn more, to do more, to become more. That inner voice refuses to let them settle. It tells them that the journey is not over, that there are new mountains to climb, new dreams to chase, and new lessons to learn. This kind of restlessness is not born from greed or dissatisfaction with life. It comes from purpose. It is the realization that our potential is far greater than our current reality, and that greatness lies just beyond the edge of our comfort. Many people misunderstand restlessness. They think it means being unhappy or ungrateful. But true restlessness is not about rejecting what you have. It's about honoring what you could become. It is the soul's way of reminding you that you were not created to stand still. Every great innovator, leader, or creator has felt this tug within, that refusal to accept things as they are. They could have chosen comfort, but they chose curiosity instead. They could have chosen security, but they chose purpose. History is shaped by those who were restless enough to question the norm. It was restlessness that made scientists look at the stars and wonder if humanity could touch them. It was restlessness that made reformers fight against injustice when the world said accept it. It was restlessness that turned inventors, artists, and dreamers into icons. Their achievements began not with certainty, but with a deep and constant stirring, a belief that something greater was possible. Let me give you a short example. There was once a young man named Amir who worked in a small printing shop. His job was stable, his life was simple, and his future predictable. But every day, as he handled books filled with stories of visionaries and dreamers, something inside him ached. He loved stories, not just reading them, but creating them. He dreamed of becoming a writer, but fear and comfort held him back. He told himself that he had no time, no connections, no reason to try. Yet, the restlessness never left him. It grew stronger with each passing year, until one night he could no longer ignore it. He picked up a pen and began writing after work. Those quiet nights turned into pages. The pages turned into a manuscript. And one day, that manuscript became a book that touched thousands of readers. Amir's success did not come from sudden inspiration. It came from the refusal to silence his restlessness. That ache inside him was not a burden. It was his calling. This is what greatness demands. It demands that we listen to that inner stirring, even when it makes us uncomfortable. It asks that we embrace our dissatisfaction, not as failure, but as fuel. Restlessness is what pushes us beyond ordinary existence into the realm of purpose and creation. Without it, the world would remain unchanged, and we would remain unrealized versions of ourselves. The danger lies not in feeling restless, but in ignoring it. When you silence that voice within, you silence your own potential. You begin to live a life that is safe but small, peaceful but purposeless. Restlessness, when guided by vision, becomes momentum. It transforms longing into action and dreams into reality. So, when you feel that stirring inside that edge for more, that desire to grow, that hunger to create, do not suppress it. It is not a sign that something is wrong with your life. It is a sign that something greater is calling you. The greatest souls in history were those who refused to settle, who looked at the horizon and said, I can go further. That is the spirit of greatness, and it begins with restlessness. So I say to you, do not let comfort become your woe, prison. Break the walls that limit your dreams. Step boldly into the unknown. even if your knees tremble, because only those who dare to leave the comfort of the shore ever discover the power of the ocean.